we? We are. We are rolling.
Cameras are going.
Everything's
We're
looking
looking
good.
fine. Get about a quarter way through just to find out the.
That it wasn't recording
it's
or
not
something.
recording the whole time. That's good. So how are you doing today?
We are doing fantastic. It's about time you finally got this podcast rolling.
I was telling Trav yesterday exactly what the whole process was in doing this. And it's here. It's finally fucking here.
Yeah, about 6 months. I think every time I've called you so far, you're just like...
Oh, Riley, get the podcast going. No, not yet, dude.
Yeah, next week. We'll drop it next week.
Not yet. It's been something.
No, setup's good. Everything's good, man. You put a lot of work into this. Turned out really good.
It is. Biggest feature for sure, I think, is the wall piece.
I'd say the wall piece or this table, man. You're probably...
It's a solid bitch.
Dude, this is a nice.
A lot of people don't know what it is until they actually step in this room. Well, the room's so small itself. It's like
right, but I mean, it still looks really good. The whole setup's probably one of the cleanest setups I've seen in person, anyways, for a podcast. So,
especially for not really knowing what you're doing, just jumping right into it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
you
say
usually
it's
go
success.
all out, though.
I like it. There was Maddie at first. She didn't really care for it, just because this room, a 10 by 11.
Oh, maybe
small room.
Yeah,
and she has her makeup spot right there, and this fucking table takes up more than half.
I mean, it does, but
I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do till you get by. Maybe when you get rich and famous off doing podcasts, you can
actually get a room dedicated to it.
Right,
that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's starting to feel like winter out there. I stepped outside this morning, a little crispy, a little frost on the ground yet.
It's snowing out right now. We got some flurries. I think it was 18. No, it's probably 18 degrees.
I'm not liking it. I'm surprised it stuck around this far for being so hot.
It's supposed to be 40 next week.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
This is the fucked up winter.
Dude, I hate this state.
I love it, though, because my propane, it stays down. And also not having to refill it so much.
Yeah, mine's been pretty chill. My house stays at 68 degrees, so that's cool when I'm there.
Dude, I don't think my thermostat's up to date.
Oh, really?
Well, because I got a new furnace put in, and I had a guy come and install it. And the dial?
Oh,
to set your temperature?
Yeah.
It was at 70 degrees or 68, something like that. And it's
cooking.
fucking freezing in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think that's really messed up. So I'm like,
it's probably at 40.
Probably. It's Maddie. I think we had enough. I'm like, fuck it. So right now I think it's cranked at 78 degrees.
It's not 78 degrees in here. There's no way.
No, it's not.
That's wild.
It's like, okay, time for a new one.
Sweet.
But so here's an app for you. Little bastard.
Pinchy bastards.
So what's going on? How's been work treating you?
Oh, man.
I know it's been stressful like shit, especially come holiday season. How is it for you? You're not an EMT, you're a
paramedic.
You're a paramedic.
Get it right. That's the biggest insult we get. Do we get so mad when people say that?
Why?
Or you're just an ambulance driver. I mean, essentially, yeah, we are. But
what's the difference? Just more schooling?
Yeah, well, EMTs, it only takes probably a couple months to get, and it's kind of...
Oh, really? And then you can go out in an ambulance?
Yeah,
really?
It's about 3 or 4 months, essentially. I think it's about that long. Well, it's just the scope of practice is the only thing that's really different. So, your EMTs do your basic life support, which is...
just trying to keep you alive in order to get to the hospital? Like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, essentially, but they're kind of scope of practice, so they can't really do a whole lot of interventions or treatments. So they can do give your aspirin for your chest pain or your nitro, and give you Tylenol.
Yeah. So your bare basic necessities.
It's about as low as you can. I wouldn't say low as you can go, but I mean, you just really can't do a whole lot. Somebody's trying to call me. And then paramedic, it's just it's the level of schooling and level of scope. So it took me 2 years to get my paramedic license, and then it's just more in depth with each of the systems of the body. You do, you read strips, see what the heart is doing. A lot of different medications you can give.
And all this is going on inside the ambulance?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, you do a lot of different things all at once.
And that's got to be stressful because it's not like you're just going to feed a little grandma some ibuprofen. She has a headache.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people think that, all these calls that you get are really, really crazy. And, all my providers out there know that 98% of the time it's, I have knee pain. Or, lately it's been I've been coughing at 3 o'clock in the morning and I want to call 911.
Is it actually?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. I got called for toe pain.
Toe pain.
At 3 o'clock.
What do you do with that?
How long has this been going on? Oh, 15 years.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm glad you waited till Thanksgiving to call.
So what do you do with that? Just throw a bag of ice on there?
Yeah, there's really not much. You kind of just tell them, you're like, look, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I'm gonna be able to do for you. If you want me to take you up to the hospital, I mean, I can. I don't know what they're gonna tell you or what they're gonna do. But that's just usually how it is. And then every once in a while, you get your wild calls. I mean, I've only been a paramedic for this is a little over a year now, and I've done just about everything almost. It's just been a wild year. A lot of crazy stuff. That and where I live makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because you're about 45 minutes away from me. Okay, so where I live, it's a small town. What is it? 10,000. I live here.
In Sobieski?
No, Little Falls.
10, I thought it was like 10, 12,000. It's small.
Small numbers.
St. Cloud's like, I don't know. I want to say 70,000, and that's just St. Cloud. That's not including St. Joe, Sauk Rapids.
So you cover all.
Yeah. St. Joe, Sauk Rapids, Sartell, and then we go kind of pretty far out. Like go to Holding Ford, and then we have a site up here in Little Falls. And then we have another one in Litchfield, which is where I'll be working tonight, too.
So, I mean, you're literally bouncing from one place to the next.
Yeah, we have different posts all over the place. So we have, most of the time at the fire station. So we go post there. Then when people get calls, they just kind of rotate us. So there's at least one ambulance in that area.
Yep. So like, how many people are actually running around, like, with an ambulance?
It depends. So, like, at night, we have like a mid shift. So that's like a midnight to... or noon to midnight, and then we have a 2 to 2, and then you have your night. So then that'd be 6 to 6, 7 to 7, 8 to 8, 9 to 9. So it'd be 4 trucks on at night. So after 2 a.m., there's only 4 trucks covering all that surrounding area.
So is there more like activity at night? Do you guys find?
No, it's a lot slower than the daytime, but it's just the types of calls you get. So
like more wild shit.
Nights tend to have either it's really slow and you do your couple basic calls, nothing really crazy. But then, nighttime also, people are either getting out of the bars, if it's the weekend you're working, depending on what time of year it is. Summertime's really crazy because, people are at the lake cabin. They're, riding four-wheelers. Partying it up, getting drunk, doing stupid stuff. So, car accidents too, especially the wintertime.
Yeah.
Wintertime is pretty...
Even around here, I see a lot more... I don't know if it's you guys or... like actual Little Falls.
It's probably Mayo, because Mayo covers Little Falls.
Yeah.
And then
you see them a lot more often, or at least I do, especially through Sobieski as well.
That's probably all the drugs.
Probably. That and the farm accidents.
Yeah, farm accidents are a huge one. Drugs, though, are probably a big thing.
Oh, dude. Do you deal with fentanyl a lot? And, do you go to calls where that fentanyl is
the
source of it?
Yeah, in St. Cloud area, there's a lot of... So we got Perk 30s. So it's like a Percocet. But then, so when they buy them from a dealer, they'll lace them with fentanyl. But it's not, they don't regulate the dose. They just do we'll sprinkle a little in there and see what happens.
So what is fentanyl? Like, I'm sure there's a whole study on it and shit. Like, what what they're putting in there? Is it like pure?
It's the same type of it's a synthetic opioid, which if you use it right, it's really good for pain management.
Fentanyl?
Yeah,
really?
I use fentanyl. Yeah, I use fentanyl. I wouldn't say I use it all the time, but... I mean,
so is this something that can get like addictive? Like
opioids, because fentanyl is an opioid. It's very addictive. It's very, very strong too. So like, we give it in micrograms because it's really, really strong.
So like already
Well, it comes in a vial, so it's liquid, and then you draw it up. Usually, I think our vials are 102, so 100 micrograms and 2 mLs. So like when you pull back, the little syringes, and they got the 1, 2, 3, all that. Yeah, so 2 of that is 100 mics.
So it's already scaled for you.
Yeah, I mean, they tell you how much is in the vial, and then we have, since, the company that I work for, we have, it's more weight-based now, so it used to be like, maximum single dose is 100 mics. Well, depending on who that person is, if she's 95 years old and 100 pounds, 100 mics is probably going to be a little much for...
If you do give her a little much, what do you do?
I actually ran into that problem. It wasn't for somebody super old, so everybody's got different levels of sensitivity to like drugs and everything, especially if they've never had fentanyl before. Some people, you can give them the max dose, and they're like...
It's just a mean word. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Fentanyl, it just sounds like fucking hell.
I mean, yeah, it's not even my favorite drug either. Ketamine is probably my favorite.
Why? What's that, like a painkiller?
Yeah, ketamine. Yeah, ketamine is really good for pain management. It kind of has a disassociative effect, so you kind of forget what's going on. I wouldn't say forget, but
Just kind of helps ease the body in a way.
Yeah, it
like
relaxes you. So it does a lot of different things. It's it'll kind of separate you from reality a little bit. But some people have really bad reactions to it, and one of them's called the emergence phenomenon, and it's like hallucinations.
And that's the worst case.
I wouldn't say that's the worst case, but like everybody's different. Some people like I've given ketamine to somebody and it works fantastic, but then the next person I give ketamine to, they trip really, really hard. And then when it only lasts about 15 minutes.
So in that 15 minutes, is there something like that you're trying to do? You know, like, so you slip them this, ketamine?
Yeah, yep.
So are you trying to like do something?
I'm just trying to manage their pain.
Oh, that's it. So you're not trying to fucking amputate their arm in the ambulance and you need to knock them out.
No, we ain't doing no field amputations. Okay. And we use it for two different things. We use it for pain management, but then we also use it for behavioral.
So if they're going SAGO, just slipping that?
Yeah. So and we can only use it if it's like there's imminent danger, as in like they're extremely violent.
As in trying to punch you?
Yeah, trying to hit us or, just acting crazy. Because we have a couple different drugs that we use. So we have Versed, which works really good, which is a benzo. That also it's for anxiety, sedation, and seizures and stuff like that. And then we have, Versed, droperidol, and ketamine. Ketamine is like your last, oh shit, homeboy's about to kick me through the ambulance.
Really?
Yeah, because we'll restrain them too sometimes if they're like really violent.
So is there kind of steps? Because in the ambulance, you only got a certain amount of like medication to give them, correct?
Yeah, and our protocols are pretty touchy too. I love medicine, but and I get it. I know the reason why we have protocols because we need some sort of guidelines, but they're also really, really picky and really touchy. And a lot of people are scared to use ketamine. We just got ketamine not too long ago. I think it's probably been like a year. There was an incident down in the cities where somebody gave somebody too much ketamine and it killed them.
Really?
As a provider, yeah. And so like after that, everybody's like,
but
no.
Can't anything though kill you if it's too much?
Yeah. Dude, chocolate can kill you too much.
So why is that such badly looked upon?
Because you know how it is. If there's one bad incident, everybody gets a little cautious.
Well, don't fucking do some stupid shit that ends
it. Tell me, one person ruins it for everybody. That's usually how it works.
So what is it that really got you started on this?
In medicine? Dude,
if
you would have asked me like 5 years ago and told me that I was going to be a paramedic, I would have laughed at you.
I would have laughed too.
Dude, I
didn't really expect.
Let's be honest. Let's see the progression here. So back in high school, I was like, I thought I was a mechanic anyways.
I remember racing dirt bikes.
Yeah, racing dirt bikes. I was going to be the next Jeremy McGrath over here. Yeah, right.
Little Falls Fairgrounds. That was a shit on a Friday night.
Yeah, I got more concussions from racing than anything.
Oh my god, I just loved after a race watching the GoPro videos the whole way, just swearing and sweating, fucking losing it,
thinking you're going so fast, and you watch the video, and you're like, "What am I doing? 6 miles an hour? Like this is pathetic."
That was a fun time.
Yeah, no, other than like remember working at the farm too. Like I thought I was a farmer too for a while, dude. I had
There was a weird phase there,
dude. We had a lot of weird phases.
Yeah.
We thought we were so many different things. Trav and I worked on the farm. Trav's the one that got me in working on the farm. I was like, oh, I love farming. This is so much fun. $8 an hour. $8 an hour.
Paycheck's never on time. Oh, that's
we're gonna have to wait about a week and a half for your paycheck.
What do you mean? My fucking car's been on E for the last 3 weeks.
I've been walking to work.
God dang it! I remember that was a fun but kind of a rough little patch in life.
Yeah, it's always fun and rough. It's been a rough patch for 27 years.
So okay, you go from doing the farm and trying to race and
fucking
around.
I'd say I worked at like a rental place was my first job.
Rental place?
Yeah, remember General Rental? Remember on the west side?
Right by the railroad track?
Yeah, well, it was kind of probably the liquor store.
Really?
By the gas station.
Huh.
I was like 14 or 15.
What were you doing? Just cleaning rentals, like when they come back?
Yeah, servicing them and stuff like that. Greasing them and
do
like daily maintenance and stuff like that. And it was a good first job.
Yeah.
That was the first job that I ever had. And when you don't have any bills, $7.25 an hour, you're like,
fuck it, I can fill my car twice.
I didn't even have a car. I was 14.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I get new wheels for my bike.
Gosh, I can't remember now. I think it was at the farm. Didn't you just get a new car and then Travis put it in the ditch?
I wouldn't even say it was a new car. It was that silver car that I had.
Is that the one with the exhaust is flapping? Like the exhaust hanger's broken, is bouncing off the road.
No, I think that was probably my first car. That was that Chevy Cavalier. Called it the tractor. Because it sounded
American
like
Muscle.
Oh yeah, American Muscle is right. That thing had so many problems. No, that's when I was working and Trav's like, yeah, I'm gonna take your car for a rip here quick.
And it was snowing. I remember.
Yeah, it was wintertime, and the only thing I said was just don't crash it.
Yep.
And he comes back like 10 minutes later.
Walking back, did he?
Yeah, he's walking. Well, because I was in the parlor,
Yep.
and he comes back and he's like, so I crashed your car.
It's like, shut up, Trav. Quit fucking.
And I was like, yeah,
Where is it?
right. I was like, okay. And he's like, no, seriously. He's like, yeah, I crashed your car. I was like, it's only been 10 minutes. And he's like, just come here and look. And that's when we walked outside. He only made it. I think he made it out of the driveway. And then he went and, was dicking around and then came back. And then it was in the ditch, but it was sideways.
What a fucking.
So he had to crawl straight out through the passenger door. And then that's when, I think Richard was still. You remember Richard?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep.
we couldn't get it out, so we grabbed the skid loader and he hooked it up and he's yanking away.
Oh my god, I would not.
He never told me that he hooked it around and like where's one of the brake lines were.
That's awesome.
So when he pulled me out, he ripped one of the brake lines out,
Jesus,
and I thought it was all good until I was on my way home.
Yeah, on the highway.
Yeah, dude, 65, and then I go to step on the brake, and it's like, ooh, she's a little spongy.
Yeah, I can't stop for some reason.
And he just downshift a little bit, pull the e-brake, keep letting it
Jesus.
off and on.
I remember leaving one time the farm, and this one Trav had his Ford Focus.
Oh god, dude, that thing went through. That thing went through everything.
Fucking right, it did. And I remember, I was driving on some back roads or a highway, whatever. I was running through the gears, and I believe I was gonna go shift. I'm not sure what gear I was in, but I put it in first gear. I think his I don't know how it was all set up, but I went to go shift to a higher gear, but I dropped it like the first or second gear. Oh my god, dude, that was never. It was like icy,
Oh,
so I hit
course.
a patch of ice, and Trav's freaking out. Like, what the fuck are you doing in my car? And I thought it blew it
I
up.
remember the brakes were bad on that thing, and we were on our way to
Yeah,
school.
he was held on by a vice grip.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
we
he's-
had on a vice grip, but then when you'd get, so we learned that if you can put it in reverse, as long as you're under, I think 20 miles an hour, so you downshift because the brakes sucked.
Yeah.
So you downshift, and that thing would be revving 8,000 RPMs, and then
my
we
God.
figured out if you put it in reverse after you hit 20, you just slowly let the clutch out, and it acts as a brake.
Oh shit, dude, you guys had that figured out to a T.
Yeah, we had that thing mastered, dude. I was ripping on that thing.
Yeah, I don't know really how.
I remember he went like 25,000 miles without changing an oil on it once.
Fuck, I think I only
out
seen him
looking
change oil once on that thing. That's when
Came
he
out
first
looking like
got
pudding.
it.
But yeah, so like, general rental, then I was working at the farm. And then I think after the farm, that's when I was trying to like, well, I guess I was still, I was racing. And when I was still working at the farm, because that's basically how I was paying for,
Yeah.
I guess, what you want to consider me attempting to start a racing career.
I love it.
Hey, dude, I
Yeah.
love dirt bikes. I've always been around dirt bikes.
And you were good at them too, I remember. Like
I wouldn't say. I think you're being a little.
no, like even like cleaning. Because I remember,
yeah, you're good at cleaning dirt bikes. You're just not good at riding them.
I remember I was our mom. She was living in an apartment, and I come to visit you and Cole or Trav, and I walk in the living room. Here's a dirt bike.
Oh, that was Riley, or not Riley. That was Trav's YFZ 450. That's
Was
when
it
we
his?
had we had the head taken apart and we were.
I remember walking
polishing.
in, shit all over the place. Ma's like, "What is going on in here?" You know?
Yeah, we were porting and polishing the head on his 4-wheeler, and yeah, we were doing it right in the living room.
Yeah.
I had that thing soaking in the bathtub
I
too,
know.
in like a jug with I think it was like, I don't know if it was brake cleaner or something. And
Oh my god,
dude, if you were to light a match, that whole
dude, that
place would have
fucking
went out.
place gone. I remember that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was fun. It wasn't
It
obviously.
was fun.
I didn't make a career out of it. It took a lot of money out of. I mean, I pretty much paid for Trav and mine.
I remember
Because
that.
I helped take that loan out for him for
Yep.
that 4-wheeler.
Oh yeah.
And Trav was way better than I was. Trav actually was pretty, when he could stay on the track. He was like, yeah,
Oh my god, dude.
yeah.
That was so scary. So when he get up to the whole or the
Yeah, the
starting
gates.
line, yeah. Oh man, I was just always trying to figure to myself what corner was he gonna bank it up.
Dude, he would always pull the whole shot.
He did. He was damn good at the whole shot.
But then the next corner, he probably rolled it.
Yeah, and it's I
Either
don't know.
rolled it or somebody would crash into him.
something.
I mean, dude, if he made it through the first lap, we're
Fuck,
like, dude,
dude, we
he's
were
gonna
so
finish.
proud of him.
He's gonna finish the race. But if he doesn't make it past that second corner, dude, we're like, well, get the trailer ready.
Jeez, I remember. I don't know. I think he. I don't know if someone hit him and the four-wheeler ran over him, or I don't know what exactly happened. But he ended up in the ER.
Yeah, I
night.
remember because I was working on my dirt bike after I crashed that the week before, and then I think I got a phone call. And they're like, yeah, Trav's going to the ER, and like I was like, nobody told me anything, so I was like, oh God, what happened? So I get in my, I think I was probably driving that silver car, and I had that thing screaming. I mean, that thing screamed when it idled.
Yeah, I know. Fucking no.
And then I get there, and Trav's like sitting in his racing gear, and it's like I think he had like a bloody mouth or something. Like I don't even know what happened. He had a concussion though. I remember that.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, and then I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't even know when we decided to call it quits on that. Probably because we ran out of money. I mean, we ran out of money before it even started. But
yeah, it is a lot to get. Like I don't even know the entry fees or anything, but that's a lot of
well,
wear
I
and
mean,
tear and shit.
the wear and tear and the gear, the racing gas, the traveling.
Yeah, for sure.
With Trav, he was breaking something every week.
Yeah,
and it was never anything like a $15 part.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's only $400.
Fuck it. Next paycheck when I get paid.
Yeah.
Whenever that is.
Yeah, when I get paid, it's gonna be about 2 weeks after originally. But
God, that's just it.
yeah,
That's
I don't even
funny.
know. I don't even know when we called it quits on the racing career. I'm
Racing
losing it,
career.
man. I'm so tired. I think I've got 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days between work and Thanksgiving.
A lot of Thanksgivings going on.
I know. I got one more. Then it's back to work tonight, and then I get 2 days off. So that's pretty.
That's nice.
Thank God I need it, even though I never take it easy.
There's always something to do. God, that's such a hard time. Like
I can't. I have a hard time just sitting around or doing nothing. I got so much shit going on between school and.
So are you done with school? I know I asked you about every time I talk to you.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It
Well, you
changes.
got the memory of a goldfish over
Dude,
here.
I know.
but-
I can't like.
No, I got a couple years left, and then I'll be a PA finally.
Yeah. So how many years is that? Because you've been in what?
It's a master, dude. I've been in school since 2020. Because as soon as I moved back to Minnesota, I started school immediately. But then COVID, so then it was kind of like all online stuff, and then so it's like 6 years total. But
Dang,
it's taken me a little longer because I took a little bit of a break after I finished paramedic school. I should have just started in the spring, but I waited till that fall to start school again. But it's 6 years because you have to have a bachelor's and then it's a master's program. So 6 years total. It'll probably be a little longer than that. Probably 7 or 8 or something like that. I mean, I could basically be a doctor by the time.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, yeah, it'll be fun.
That's a commitment. So what is it that really? Okay, so going back to this whole high school dude, you got the racing.
Yeah, we've been kind of sidetracked here a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the racing, working, on that. And then I remember I worked at, I don't even know if it's a place anymore, but Rudolph's.
Yeah, they moved to the west side.
Oh, they're still there?
Yeah. they're still
Okay. Yeah, I worked there, and then I worked at the hospital, too, at St.
there.
Gabe's.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Washing clothes, was it?
I think I was just basic cleaning.
Were you?
Yeah, that was so humiliating.
Yeah, I know.
Because
Some of
I
that
did
shit.
I did like cars and like details, or I don't even know, technically not really details, but I did all the car stuff during the day. So that was like 8 to 5, and then from 5 to 11 or 12, I would go and work at the hospital and do what I needed to do.
That's grinding, honestly.
I feel like I've been grinding since then. And then after that,
Yeah.
I remember because we lived on the west side. Remember when Trav had that little single?
That little duplex deal.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. It was him and his girlfriend at the time, and it was me. And dude, I just never had any money. I mean, I feel like that right now, honestly.
I know.
Work all the time, and you're like, I make
where's
more,
this
but I
check?
still have less.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. So I was like laying in bed, and I woke up one day, and I was like, something's got to change, man. I was like, this
Is that literally like what happened?
Oh yeah, when I joined the army, yeah. I did it on a whim. I was just tired of never having any money. We were always behind on bills, and I felt like my life was pretty much like going nowhere. I mean, let's be honest. You're like cleaning cars, and then you're like cleaning like hospitals and stuff like that.
And the money that you do get from that literally right towards bill. Like you
right
couldn't
towards
grind.
rent, and I was still trying to pay those loan payments off too. And
That's
that was
a fucking killer.
That was $185 a piece at the time.
Jesus,
And that was
yeah.
right after high school too. So I was like, I was just really, really struggling financially, and I was like, something's got to change. And then so I woke up that day, and I went to the recruiter in Brainerd, and took like my ASVAB and like all that stuff. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to be infantryman. What a joke.
Just like any other dude.
Yeah. I want to be an infantry.
Let me have at it.
Well, your ASVAB score is a little high. You can pretty much do whatever you want. I'm like, nope. It's either that or nothing. And he's like, well, we don't have any spots open for 11 Bravos. You're an infantry guy. I was like, well, okay. Well, that's what I want to do. And if you can't do that, then I'll see you later. And he's like, whoa. He's like a car salesman, you know. He's like, whoa.
Hey, done, yeah.
Oh, let me run the numbers again, see what we can figure out. And he, goes on the computer. He's like, well, what do you know? We got one more spot.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I was like,
fucker, you.
You don't know anything. You're trying to do me the old slipperoo here. And I was like, well, when can I leave? And he's like, as soon as you could leave is a couple weeks.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, once again.
We're back on here.
What do you do?
We figured it out.
Camp Corps is coming today, so I'm hoping this does not happen again.
Right.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta work. I mean, dude, you're just starting.
We're working out the kinks.
You're just starting to do podcasts. Like, nobody starts it off unless, like, you have somebody that's, like, a professional anyways.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, I joined the Army, and I didn't really tell anybody. I think I told you guys, and that was it. I was tired of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets boring quick.
Full circle, come right back.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say come right back, but I'm in the general area, I guess, but until I finish school. Yeah, so I left for basic training in, 2016. Did that, and I graduated in March from Fort Benning, and then I did the active duty because I was like, I'm never coming back. I can't remember.
The town here?
I wasn't. Yeah, I remember when I was like, well, I'm never coming back. I was like, I'll do 20 years. I should just sign a 20-year contract. I'm so glad I did not do that. Dude. But, you're just kind of pissed off at the world, and you're kind of hating life, and you're like, I feel like that's a good chunk of the stories of people joining the Army. Not all
hear
of
about
them.
it more times than not, though.
Yeah, their life is usually just kind of a disaster. I mean, mine was, anyways, for my experience. So graduated, and you guys came down to my graduation, and I said, hi, thanks for coming. And then I got on the bus, and they took us to good old Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I think that's what it's still called.
So is that when you did your AIT?
Well,
right?
It's OSIT, so it's a one-station unit training. So, like, infantry was, like, only 12 weeks at the time.
Okay.
So it was, like, 8 weeks of basic, and then I think it was, like, another month of your AIT. It's like some of the shortest training in the Army, which is crazy.
Seems very short.
Probably because everybody's so stupid.
Okay, here's your gun. Go get him, Tiger.
Yeah. We got the numbers. It doesn't really matter if you know what you're doing. Just use it as a shield. Army. Yeah, so then I got on that bus, hopped on. We went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and that's when the real nightmare started. I love that place. I mean, looking back on it now, Fort Campbell, I've heard it's gotten a little worse over the years. But that's,
really? As in what, like?
Well, our barracks that we had at the time were pretty horrendous.
Really?
And they're very small. My room was the size of this room. And you share it with another dude, not in the same room, but you like 2 rooms side by side, you both have doors, and then you come out and you have like your kitchen that's about the size of this table, and then your one bathroom. And
so is that all like remodeled now, where it is bigger?
No,
it's the same.
No, that brigade anyways had some of the worst barracks, and we had like black mold on the ceiling and stuff.
Dude,
like
that's
that.
gross.
And then every time like the sergeant major would come in for like inspections, he'd be like, "Why is there mold on the ceiling?" I'm like, "It was here when I got here." He's like, "Well, do a better job cleaning." I'm like, "It is embedded in the panel."
Yeah, it's my fault. Okay.
Sergeant major, I cannot do anything about it, and well, do better. Okay,
gross, dude.
Yep. So I was there for 4 years, and it was a little rough at first, just because.
New or what?
Just new. That's kind of like the Army mentality, anyways. At least for infantry guys, a lot of hazing and stuff, which I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. But
what is the hazing that goes on? Like I thought that was just kind of bullshit myself.
It depends on where you go, what unit you go to. So they just fuck with you a lot, and
what, throwing your clothes on the floor?
Well, that'd probably be like more basic training style, but they'll just ask you like questions that have impossible answers, or just things that they know you cannot answer.
And these are like your teammates, or
it'd be my leadership at the time. So
okay.
like you have your team leader. Like I operated in a long range reconnaissance unit, so like I just learned all this infantry stuff to go to a reconnaissance unit where, like, yes, you're an infantry guy, but you're doing reconnaissance. You're not doing your standard infantry tactics. So I got there and they're like, I hope you like recon. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about recon. All right, well, you're gonna learn now. And I remember they were doing brigade FTX, which is like the whole. It's like you know what a brigade is, right?
A big.
Yeah, so it's big. Like we had 3 brigades, and so it was first brigade's like FTX, and so they're like, hey, I hope you have all your stuff ready. you're going out to the field. This is day one showing up. And I'm like,
And you had no idea going into this.
nope.
You just kind of showed up and
I showed up. I turned in my paperwork, and then I got smoked for a little bit by my new squad leader or team leader, I guess. And that guy was a real piece of work. And so they're like, hey, you got 2 hours. Go get all your shit ready. You're going out to the field. And then I got all my stuff ready. They dropped me off in the field, and I think that was 2 weeks. 2 weeks out into the field. And it sucked at the time, but I'm really glad that it happened, because after that 2 weeks, because you got to prove yourself
to like the team leader,
your team leader, squad leader, and everybody else. They, because you're new. You don't know.
So was it you? Like, were you the only person that was new?
I was the first new person they've had in like over 2 years.
Oh shit!
So,
Okay,
I got it real good.
I see. I thought it was like a group of people, like just going to this place and you're.
No. So you have your unit, and everybody's been there for various times, and people are always coming and going. Where they're either they're getting out of the army, they're ETSing, PCSing, so changing different unit stations.
So kind of like an intersection kind of a type.
Yeah, it's people are always coming and going, but I've been the first person in 2 years. They hadn't had anybody new, so everybody was pretty close with each other. And then there's this outsider. Like, oh,
no one likes those.
Yeah, this guy's gonna get it. Jeez. But I can take it. So I got kind of abused for the first 2 weeks out in the field. I remember my team leader at the time. He dumped my rucksack out that probably already weighed 80 pounds the way it was. And he's like, all right, you're carrying half my stuff too.
Is that something that he can do?
Technically, I mean...
I know he can do it, but can you actually do it?
Not now. The Army's kind of adapted new ways. There's that whole hazing, old school mentality is kind of going away, which... Because, people are a lot softer these days.
Yeah.
A lot more sensitive.
Go with some, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, for a private pile.
Yeah.
No, it was a different... Man, this makes me sound old when I say this, but it was a different time. Or you got guys that have been in for 15 years, so they're used to that old school. Yeah, that old school mentality.
Yep.
And I love that. I love that old school mentality.
And it shows. It still shows to it this day. It just kind of formed of who they are, I believe, because you don't see that now, with the new recruitments.
No, everybody's a little. I mean, let's be honest here. Kind of live in a more sensitive world these days.
It is, yeah.
And then, I hate to say it, everybody's a little more sensitive, everybody's a little more touchy on subjects. And maybe it's always been that way, but, with social media and everything like that, everybody
has a big factor.
Everybody has a voice now. Everybody can call you out and post what you said or what you did 15 years ago.
Yep.
So
and keep posting that till it is fucking heard or whatever.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, it was a good time. After those 2 weeks of really just kind of sucking, dude, it really sucked. But then, when we got back, they kind of seen that, I was a decent soldier. This guy kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's still new, but he's got a lot of potential. And then, so I spent my next 3 years, or next 4 years there, and I went to a bunch of different schools in the Army, and it was good. Most people don't even know that I'm in the Army. I just don't really talk. I never really talk about it because, let's be honest, nobody really cares. I try to stay pretty humble. Everyone's like, "Oh, thank you for your service. You did so much." I'm like,
"Do I still get my discount?"
Yeah, that's one thing I've never done.
Really?
I don't do that. On Veterans Day when I was working on the truck, there was a coffee place and they're free coffee for veterans, and my partner was like, "Well, you're in the Army, aren't you?" I was like, "I'll just pay for it."
I find it funny, the people who do the stolen valor.
Oh,
just to get a free coffee,
right?
Fuck, dude, that's insane.
Why? It's a coffee. If you can't afford a $7 coffee, which is outrageous all by itself, probably shouldn't be doing it anyways. No. All right, sweet, we're still recording. Yeah, so I don't really talk about my army time as much. I don't see it really relevant. I only joined the Army for 2 different reasons. One was my life was kind of a disaster at the time. I needed some sort of structure, stability, and some finance.
At least you realize it. Honestly, a lot of people they don't realize it. It's kind of too late.
Yeah, and they're already so far gone, and it's just well, you're 35 now, and your life is still a mess. Yep. I mean, you can still change it, but it would have been nice to know, 10 years earlier.
Right.
So I did that to kind of get my life back on track. But then during that time, I kind of came up with an idea, which once I was in the Army and kind of was oh, I kind of got a natural act for tactics anyways, at least being a leader. I never was put in a leadership position before, so I didn't really know if I was a good leader, but I was like, man, this actually comes I wouldn't say pretty easy, but I seem to do a lot better with it than.
As in leadership role?
Yeah, because they put me in a leadership role, like after that 2 weeks, they put me in a leadership role right away, and I had no idea what I was doing.
Huh.
So now I'm in charge of guys that have already been in the Army for 5 years.
And what are you doing?
So you're just kind of like overseeing, delegating.
Like on a mission, like training?
Yeah, training. So you're in charge of your ranking structure. And so, like, depending on what type of unit, you have, like, your team leader, which would be, like, your first line, and then your squad leader, and then after your squad leader, you have your PST or your platoon sergeant, and then you have, like, your first sergeant, the enlisted side anyways. So you have to go through your chain of command and everything, and everybody's responsible for different things. The, platoon sergeant's in charge of the whole, what am I trying to say? Platoon as a whole, and then the team leaders are in charge of the teams and
kind
the
of
squad.
broken down.
Yeah, it's just broken down at a lower level. So I got chucked into the leadership role right away, and
That's pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
do they do that with people just to see how they kind of?
Some people, I think I don't know why they really did it, to be honest, because like I had only been in the Army at this unit for like a month and a half, and they're like, hey, you have this team now, and I'm like, oh man. And my guys never really took me seriously because those guys been in the Army for 5 years already. Like, they outranked me.
Like, why didn't they do that?
That's a very good question. I don't know if they wanted to just see how I would do, or
Really?
or what. I mean, it paid off. I'm glad they did it now.
Yeah, yep.
Because it was a little rocky at start. But when somebody's new, like, they don't want to take orders from somebody that's been in for 5 years. They're not gonna be like, dude, you just got here.
I would have a hard time with that.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna listen to you. You don't know shit.
Yep.
But they did it, and they weren't happy about it, but they did it. And then once they seen that I was actually pretty decent, and we all got really super close and everything like that, and really good friends, and things worked out really, really well for it, and just kind of helped me out in the long run, especially once I transitioned back into the civilian world.
So you took that leadership that you got from the Army.
Yep.
And then how did you kind of translate that in the civilian side?
So, I mean, just especially with work and stuff like that, and just instead of like being the type of person that always is waiting to be told what to do.
Yep.
Just taking initiative and be like, okay, well, this is what needs to be done. Let's get it done. And you can translate that into basically any point of your life.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be in charge of somebody.
I'm trying to work on that myself.
To be a leader, yeah. You don't have to be in charge of somebody to be, a leader.
Yep.
You can put it in any aspect of your life, whether it's school, job, your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You can pretty much do it in anything. And it worked out really, really well. There's obviously always something to learn. You're always getting better at it.
That's nice. That's big too. That's like, even for myself, like, it's easy to kind of forget that in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have to keep reminding myself, like, to kind of take that leadership role.
Right.
Say in like relationship, like, I'm not hollering at my girlfriend, like, just more decisive, more of a stern in a way, like, not, I don't know how to put this so it sounded like an asshole,
right.
but more of like a.
I know you're not trying to sound like you're being controlling.
Right. Just trying to more of a man, I guess.
Yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but like, it's like, I don't know, like, what do you want to eat? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do this.
Just helping you make a decision.
Yes, pretty much.
Decision-making skills. Yeah, I mean, it might be a little different variation.
It is. I know mine's my own little separate deal, and it's just petty. It's just me trying to overcome something.
Hey, no, I mean, as long as you're trying to like better yourself,
every day,
it really doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I think that's why I'm glad you're doing this podcast. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna have a lot of different types of people on here, but I mean, I guess this is my first podcast. I've never been on a podcast, and for anybody that's listening that knows me really well, which is probably not a lot of people. Not like Travis is probably the only person that really, really knows me down to I would say my core level.
Trav, he's a good guy. I gotta get him on here.
Yeah, he's fun. He's awkward, and he's not the smartest.
Oh, that's fun.
But I love the kid to death. He'll do anything for you.
He's
all right,
a good
so
person.
back to what were we talking about here? We get so sidetracked.
I know.
We got little side conversations.
Civilian side, you're kind of taking that military training.
Yeah, it gave me more confidence more than anything, because when I joined the Army, I was pretty shy dude. I mean, I didn't really talk much, and I mean, I tried to be confident, but I would say I wasn't the
kind of faking it till you make it.
Yeah, that's pretty much. And now, it's a little different now. I'm pretty confident. I try to say confident without being cocky.
That's hard to.
It's hard. There's a lot of gray area because, and I talk with a lot of enthusiasm too, just because, my time in the military kind of really shaped a different path.
Nope.
Everybody's really, really hard on me. So now, like, my leniency, or like, I would not say forgiveness, but like my expectations for other people are a lot higher, which,
Because of that?
yeah. So like, I try to push people a little harder, and, not everybody is me. Some
Yep.
people are a little more sensitive. And so like when I push them, sometimes they break down because I'm a little much sometimes. And I get that. It's hard for me to see that, because I see a lot of potential in someone. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna
want to see him
I'm gonna
hit
push
it.
them as hard as I can, and try to make them as great as I possibly can. And sometimes they crack, and they just think that I'm doing it to be
An asshole
an
or
asshole,
something.
and
Yep.
I'm not. I'm a pretty chill dude, actually,
Nope.
or I'd like to think so. I
Or just
I'm,
making
I,
it bad.
I idle pretty high. I can go 0 to. I'm probably sitting at 60, and I can go to 100 pretty quick. But I just have a lot of enthusiasm, is what I tell people.
And it's cool too. Like a lot of people, especially like working there out in Camp Ripley, you see a lot of people try to motivate, like military side. Like when
Right.
they come in and they do the training, like there's always some goofballs that
Oh,
they're just there, they're trying to collect their check. But there's this, I seen it firsthand. There's this leader. I don't know
Right.
exactly what he was, but and is this leader and this goofball, he's been just being an asshole this whole time. And this leader, I don't know what it was, but he was always not picking on him, but trying to get him to go, like trying to light a fire under his ass.
Yeah, extract that
Yeah,
that motivation and try to.
and at the end of this few weeks or whatever, because I kind of seen them when they first got here to start the training.
Yep.
And by the time they left, I kind of seen a slight difference. And, like I seen that this goofball was starting to kind of make an effort, try to prove himself,
Oh yeah.
and just be what he was
Be
there to do.
better. Yeah. And it takes, not everybody can do it. And, I'll find everything that I see that, like, I'll find what kind of really gets somebody going, and I'll use that. I'll twist and
Just
pull.
drives
And, oh, yeah, dude. I find what really motivates you or pushes your buttons, man.
That's like that David Goggins, man. He is a legend.
Oh, dude, he's a savage.
He's a psycho in my mind. Like,
I mean, yeah.
jeez
but,
Louise, that man is extreme, but fuck, like, that's the person that can get it done.
yeah, dude, you need extreme people.
Yeah, you do.
Average people do average things. That's
Mhm.
what I always tell people.
That's true.
What's the point of being average, honestly? I think that's why I'm so busy all the time, because when I do come back to my hometown and I see people, I don't really go out and party or go to the bars.
Like, nothing
these days.
changes.
No.
Nothing changes.
And it's been like 4 years and things are still the same, and I'm like, doesn't that drive you nuts? Like,
Yeah.
why do you want to, like, you're almost 30, right? Like, you're still
And
doing what you did in high school. Like, that's kind of pathetic. Like, don't you want to do more? Don't you want to be great?
Like, trap, like, literally pick up a little hobby. Anything. No. like,
Something.
work,
Literally.
party on the weekend, and repeat for 4 fucking years.
Yeah, dude,
Jeez.
it's that complacency. And like I'm guilty of complacency too.
Yeah.
That's
and
why I don't give
I'm trying
myself
to
a day
break.
off. If I give myself a day off, man, I'm like, "Oh, this is nice. I like just sitting here doing nothing."
And
Then it gets harder and harder. You're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
back on the grind."
Yep.
So, if I can just stay, balls to the walls, man, all the time. That's how it's been since I moved back to Minnesota in 2020. Obviously, COVID kind of
that was a weird time for a lot of people.
that kind of sucked, to be honest. It was nice at first because I was like, "Oh, wow, I get
It was a
just to do
change.
nothing."
But with school, oh man, wearing the mask like in high school and shit.
Yeah,
I
suppose when
hated
you guys
it.
did
I
go
could
back,
barely
yeah.
breathe to start with, and you throw a fucking mask over my face, and
I guess
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not the smartest person in the world. But I get what they were trying to do.
I don't. I mean, I understand the theory behind
I think it was more of like a peace of mind thing,
Fuck, that can
like
keep it.
because people were losing their minds. I'd never, whatever, man. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know everything. I just never. It was when they tried to they took them away, and then they were like, okay, actually, we have to go back to wearing masks. I'm like, you do realize that these
Yeah.
they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I think I seen a doctor do a study or like a experiment, and he took a hit of, I don't know if it was vape or some sort of smoke.
Like to see what leaks out.
Yeah, and he did it, and he's like, see, it doesn't do anything. It's literally useless. I'm like, okay. I mean, yes, I get that.
I could see like a full-on respirator for like paint fumes or
Right,
whatever the
yeah.
fuck. But like the
You're
shit
gonna
they're
have-
handing out,
You're gonna have the whole population be walking around with respirators.
like, dude,
What is
like I
this,
said-
Chernobyl.
fucking.
Yeah, it was dumb. It
Ugh.
was a weird time, and I spent a lot of I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife or any of that stuff. So I spent a lot of time alone.
That's a hard time, especially for being like kind of that long.
Well, and I
dragging
just
it.
had come back from deployment at the end of 2019, and then like maybe a month or two after is when I ETS from active duty, and I moved back home, and I was like ready to go. I was like, okay, I already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get my EMT license, then I'm gonna go to paramedic school, and then I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and that. And so once I got maybe started halfway through my EMT program, then that's when COVID happened. And then kind of the world just
So
went to shit.
were you going to school while COVID happened?
Yeah, I was doing all online.
Okay.
Yep.
That's sweet. Girlfriend did that too, and
It was
I
hard.
think it helped
It-
her in a way, but it
It
definitely
gave me something to do.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that, dude, I don't know what I would have done. Like, I was losing my mind. I mean, a couple days, yeah, that's fine. A couple months, okay, that kind of blows. But like almost a year,
I know.
that was ridiculous. And then
Dragging.
finally, when we started being able to go back out and trying to talk to people, I was like, this is weird. Like, I haven't seen another person in
It was
forever.
a weird time, like when stores or like restaurants, like we can actually go in there without having a mask on.
I know.
Fuck, like you almost felt naked in a way.
Right. Well, and I was working too. So like obviously not everybody was just sitting at home, and then that's when I started working as an EMT after I got my license. And so like you have to do the full get up, respirator,
Oh,
goggles,
jeez, that's
and
right.
gowns and
Did
everything.
you have a face mask?
You had to only wear that if there's like bodily fluids.
Okay,
But
yep.
you had to wear like the glasses. You obviously wear your gloves, and that's just everything. A gown, your mask, your N95 mask. So like you're sitting in like this. You look like you're basically getting prepped for surgery.
Yeah.
And you're sitting, and then you go to change it every single different person, and see a lot of sick people. I mean, don't get me wrong, COVID definitely hurt a lot of people, and I'm glad that we're like I can work on the truck now, and I don't have to wear a mask.
That's nice.
So much better. So much better. But yeah, it was a hard time for everybody. But once, we got through that, and then I was able to that's when I started medic school, just when we were actually going back to classes. And that would, honestly, for any of my paramedics out there, you guys all know what I'm talking about. Medic school is probably one of the worst times of my life.
What? Just a lot of studying, a lot of homework. Tests?
It's hard. There's just so many moving parts, and everybody's different because everybody's personal life situation is different. Some people are, single, no kids, no girlfriend, no wife, no nothing. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still hard. And then, there's some people that have, a wife, a couple kids, their mortgage, and now you have to do all this studying, and then you have to do your clinical rotations,
That's a lot,
and then
man.
maybe try to work. So when I was doing it, I didn't have, at first anyways, I was single at the time. Started off, I was working full-time down in the cities, and I still lived in St. Cloud until I bought my house. So it was an hour and a half drive one way to work, and then you work, I think we only worked 10s. So that was, 13 hours. So I would, basically my day mapped out was, I'd go to school at 8, and then I would have to leave a little earlier so I could get to work on time. And that was at I had to leave at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I changed at school. I left, went down to the cities, worked my 10 hours, came back, went straight home, and then that's when I had Nina at the time, my first search and rescue dog, in which I'm sure we'll get into that here in a bit. And then I would play with her for a couple hours, maybe get like an hour or two of sleep. And then I was either, that's when I had to do 410, so I had to do that at least 4 days in a row. And then when I wasn't doing that, I was doing clinical rotations at the St. Cloud. That's when I was doing my rotations with Mayo and St. Cloud. So that's 12.
Man.
So it's just all the time,
I remember that too, because you call me here, and it's like, damn, dude, you were running. And that's a fucking kind of a haul. That's a lot of driving.
3 hours, yeah, 3 hours driving to work every four times a week. And then it was so many different things going on. You're not getting a lot of sleep. I wasn't eating a lot because I was so tired.
Yeah.
I just didn't really have the appetite. And then my financial situation was the one that was killing me. Because now I have a mortgage and I have a car payment. So I have to work. I have to work full time. Otherwise, I can't make a living.
Yeah.
So then I just kept getting buried. I was I was using my credit cards to get through school. And I was just deeper. And then I think I was probably like 12,000 in credit card debt just to try to make it.
Jeez,
and then I think about halfway through medic school, I kind of told myself I wasn't going to get into a relationship because I was like, I need to focus on this, and that is it. And my cousin introduced me to this girl at the time. Yeah,
I'm scared that thing.
Yeah, I know. she introduced. I remember I was sitting at home one day, and I think I was doing some studying, and she's like, "I'm tired of you being single. I have the girl for you." I was like,
So where were you in this point? Were you kind of looking, or
I
did you
was,
just want to?
I was not looking for anything.
Okay.
I didn't even. I was just so busy. I didn't have time for myself, let alone to for somebody else.
Do a relationship,
Right. And so I was like, no, I'm not really looking. And she's like, she showed me a picture of this girl. I was like, yeah, she's super cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, she's really attractive. And she gave me her number, and I just never texted her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even
it's probably who you're thinking of. I'm not going to name drop any people, but yeah. And so like a couple days goes by, and then she texts me, and she's like, I was tired of waiting for you to text me. So
that girl.
Yeah.
That you got the number. She texted you.
Yeah, she texted me. She was
Really?
like, I was tired of waiting. And I was like,
So she knew about it.
oh, yeah, she knew. And so we started chatting, and, this is one of my cousin's best friends, and she's a nurse. Those nurses, man. I love my nurses, but let's be honest, you guys are a little on the borderline crazy, especially if you're an ER nurse. I mean, if you're any
Everyone
kind of
has
nurse.
their breed.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's just how it works in EMS. They're, cops and nurses and fire dudes and cops and medics and
Just
everybody.
a weird circle there.
It's just one big.
Just a
everybody
weird
loves
circle.
everybody, man. So yeah, we got about halfway through, and honestly, if it wasn't, somehow we ended up dating. Somehow, even though I said this wasn't gonna turn into anything,
Nope.
definitely turned into something.
Nope.
It was awesome. She was the best thing ever. But things started to take a turn for the
Shit happened.
I wouldn't say the worst, but I'm not a sensitive person in general, and I'm not really big on my emotions.
I can tell.
I mean,
Always been like that.
I've always been like that, and
Yep.
it's just something I can't. I'm not a really touchy-feely type of person, and not everybody can be.
Nope.
I like to keep my problems to myself,
Mm-hmm.
because the way I see it is nobody's gonna. And this is a horrible mentality. I don't recommend this to anybody, but this is just my mindset. My thought process was, hey, man, everybody's got problems. If I tell you mine, are you going to fix them for me? No.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that's going to fix my problems is me, so I'll just keep them to myself.
It's very
super bad. Super bad for your mental health.
It's
Don't
very
do that.
good to a point, to like.
I mean,
what extreme?
Right, exactly. Like, maybe some problems, like if they're just kind of BS, like, well, whatever.
Nope.
Or, talk to somebody about it. But, like, I was doing this with, like, major problems.
See,
like
that's where
mental health problems. And I was like,
a little dangerous.
I mean, I was already kind of fucked up in the head before. But
Wow, throw it on
especially
top.
from the Army, and then come back and, as didn't really help that much more. But,
Yep.
so, yeah, we're probably, I was about probably halfway, 3/4 of the way through medic school. And this girl, yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be a paramedic, to be honest.
Oh, really? What, just pushed you, or?
I wouldn't say push me, but she really kept me on a path, I would say. Keep my mind somewhat straight.
Really?
Because I started to spiral out of control after a while because I was so
That's a lot.
sleep deprived and
Fuck yeah,
financial, not finances. Yeah, finances.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually, like, helped pay my bills to help me get through medic school. Like, she was helping me pay for... I wouldn't say not my mortgage or anything like that, but like my internet. And
That's crazy.
She was just helping me out, and she dished out a lot of money for me.
See,
So-
there is good people out there. Dan.
Yes, there are good women out there. There's a lot of good women out there.
That's awesome. Like, not to cut you off here or anything, but like, there's a lot of people that are willing to help unexpectedly. Example, like this table. I said it last podcast, but it just come from an idea, and I said it to someone. And they took it upon themselves to make this happen.
Right.
The same kind of situation you got going on, and it
I never
fucking helped
Yeah,
you.
I've never asked, but and
Yeah.
I told her too. I was like, look, I've never had anybody help me do anything in my life. I've always had to do shit on my own.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
I was like, if anyone's gonna get it done, it's gonna be me, and that's it. Because I don't want to finish something and then be like, have somebody tell you, and everybody knows, and nobody, everybody hates this, is when you finish or accomplish something, and then somebody comes back and says, well, you wouldn't have gotten there if it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And, I kind of helped you out. So I was like, I was giving no reason for anybody to ever tell me that.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to a certain point where, I had no money. I was struggling so bad. And that was really, really affecting,
That's
I was
a lot of
really
stress.
depressed.
Yeah.
I was depressed at home, and then you go to work, and not everything you see is horrible. And everybody that, works on the truck, ER, not everything is horrible.
Nope.
I mean, there's a slight percent where there's actually really horrible shit that you see, and it's going to change.
It's a rut for sure. especially like.
But it doesn't.
Working.
It's not it's not always positive either. So like it's
No.
kind of negative because people are having the worst day of their lives, and you're there to help them.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you go home and your life is already shit too. So you're like, oh man, like when does it get better?
Never really thought about it in that sense, and being like that, you still kind of do this. Because you are with them people like on their worst day, like you said.
I mean, and it takes a toll on some people
for sure. Yep.
I just took too much on at the same time because I was working full time, school full time. Then I had my search and rescue dog too, so I'm trying to do all of these things, and I just took on way too much, and I didn't really realize it till halfway through. But then you're already halfway through, and you're like, well, life sucks, but I've already made it this far. I might as well just keep grinding it out.
No.
And so she helped me get through a good chunk of it. And she, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be a paramedic. So, I mean, she knows who she is. I won't say her name, but if she ends up listening to this podcast,
hopefully.
I mean, she knows. Sweet. She knows too. That was the one that got away too, man. That was the one that got away. Obviously, we're not together anymore. I think I just finished. Yeah, I just graduated from medic school, and she took me to Colorado. Paid for everything because even though I was done with school, I was still trying to catch back up.
Nope.
And I just started working as a medic, and so I was still trying to pay off all that debt.
A lot of money,
that took a long time. So we went there and we spent a week there, and we came back, and things were going really well, I thought, and then there's something wrong. Wrong. Apparently not. So I have a hard time talking about relationships just because I like to keep my private life private.
Yep.
But I'd say for the sake of the podcast and for the listeners out there, it's not a bad thing to kind of talk about. And at least for the men out there, for their perspective, kind of let them know that they're not the only one. I bet you there's a large percent of people out there that have probably gone through maybe not the exact same thing, but a similar aspect. It just depends on the type of person you are. But I really wasn't. It kind of sucks because I guess to put it in perspective, you don't, and I hate this saying too because it's really overused, but you don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it was. And it kind of came down to one day, and I know she was waiting for me to say this 3-letter word. And we all know what that 3-letter word is.
A weird, scary word at first.
I won't even say it. I won't even say it out loud because it freaks me out. And looking back on it now, the way I kind of approached that situation, it sounded normal in my mind. But when I said it out loud, like 6 months later, I was like, that was really rough. I should not have said it that way. I didn't mean it in a negative way or to hurt somebody. But, man, if you to be, for the people out there listening, basically, they were waiting for me to say this 3-letter word, and my response was, well, I don't want to say something if I don't mean it. Yeah, dude.
All right, man, I could see why.
Yeah, I could see why now, too. Obviously, I was so, I was in a weird headspace, too, and I didn't mean it to come off sounding like that.
Yeah.
But as time went by, and obviously, we went our own separate ways because she hadn't been happy for a while, and I understand. She had every right to be,
That's understandable.
I don't want to make somebody unhappy, and I don't talk to her anymore, but, I wish her all the best. And for any, woman out there or guy, like, you want somebody to be happy unless you're a psycho. Like,
a lot of them around too.
Yeah, and most of the time, people end up staying in relationships for either too long or they just never get out of them, where they're just miserable all the
Same
time.
Fucking thing,
like,
again and again.
Perception and perspective are huge things. Like, you might look at somebody and say, "Oh man, they're the love of my life. Like, they're the best thing ever," and you think of that basically like, "Oh, this person's like perfect." But if they make you feel alone or like shit, that's the reality of that relationship. You're not, even though you think they're this amazing person, but yet they make you feel, alone or insecure.
I have a feeling there's a lot of that going on.
Oh, I 100% believe. And
some of it you can see.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely tell.
Yeah.
And for anybody out there that feels like that, I mean, I know it's easier said than done, just with like a lot of things in the world, but if you look at somebody, your partner, and you say, you know, oh man, I think that this is the person I want to marry, but they make you feel all these negative things, like that's going to be the reality of that relationship. And I know you probably shouldn't stay in it, or at least communicate with your partner
That's
and
a
say,
big
hey,
factor.
look, this is how I'm feeling lately. And maybe that person's doing, you know, not doing it intentionally. Communication is everything in relationships.
Yep.
That's one thing I definitely struggle with, communication. I don't really,
I did too.
I don't talk about, you know, how I feel, what I'm thinking. I'm kind of just neutral all the time. And I can see where, I mean, that's always been a struggle for me too, because it always makes that other person feel like I don't care about them.
Yeah.
But in reality, I really do. But
I know exactly
what I'm
what
saying?
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
I can
It
see-
is something. Yeah, not to go in the whole relationship advice or nothing, but it's like I could communicate more, you know.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't want to explain myself.
I
Or,
get
you know,
that too.
or like just kind of get her thinking, like kind of convince her, whatever the fuck. It's just
yeah,
sometimes I feel like some things are good to be left out, depending
on what
it is
yeah.
for sure, you know. But yeah, like that is something that I have been trying to work on, and I
It's
can tell
how-
the difference for sure.
Yeah, I mean, communication is everything. And if you have really poor communication, then I'm not saying that your relationship can't work.
Mm-hmm.
It just won't be optimal.
A little,
Everybody wants the, you know, the best version of the relationship. And yeah, I'm just not good at communicating. I've just never really been good at relationships anyways. I mean, I always tell people, especially if I think that there's potential, I'll be like, look, I'm very busy. This is what I have going on in my life. This is my end goal. This is what I want to achieve in life. And I might not have a lot of time for you. I'll try to do my best to facilitate or at least be better at time management and spend time with you. But at the end of the day, this goal is my number one priority.
I've seen that happen with a few of them.
Jesus.
You know, like during
Way to
high
call-
school, they
way
hear-
to call me out.
But
Yeah, all your relationships have failed because
Shit
you're garbage. Got it.
no, like I just remember. I remember
The last
you
two,
sticking
the
to
last,
it.
the last two for sure. Because I'd say, I mean, my last one probably wasn't the most serious one. The one before that, the one that my Great White Buffalo. If you've ever seen Hot
one-
Tub
one
Time
that got
Machine,
No, I just remember. Yeah, you always stuck to what you wanted to do.
yeah, I'm very stubborn. That's the problem. I mean, I get it. They're finding some leniency, and there's always a give and take in relationship, but I refuse because I've worked so hard, man.
And you come a long way.
I have. I've been
come a
working
long way.
towards my end goal. Working for the FBI's hostage rescue team. That's obviously the end goal for people that I know the listeners out there don't really know that.
That's crazy.
I'll probably be on a couple podcasts because like this.
We got a
This
lot.
journey is a lot. I've done a lot of different things in life, and from what you guys say, anyways, I say I'm pretty average in my mind.
I think you're on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to do more, but that's I don't even know what I was saying.
I don't know, but I found it sweet on how with all like the schooling that you had going on, it just I don't know what exactly got you like in the search and rescue,
I got lucky with that.
but that was sweet, dude.
I was lucky because the first time I ever worked with dogs was one of the special forces groups.
In the military.
Yeah, when
Really?
I was on active duty, we did a lot of training with those guys, and one of the handlers would come with too, and they had these dogs, and I was like, "What kind of dog is that? I've never seen one before. I've seen a dog before. I haven't seen this type of dog."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What is that?" And he's like, "Well, it's a Belgian Malinois." I was like, a Belgian
You
Malinois.
crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah. So then I seen it, and I was like, "Man, this thing's legit."
Like you've seen the potential of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I think my headphone. Hold on, let me see if say something.
Hello.
Okay, that's better. I don't know if it was like bad connection or something.
Oh.
Kind of got a little squirrely there. But then I was like, I want to work with dogs too. So then once I got out and I came back, and Travis is my best friend. Been best friends with him since we've known each other our entire lives. I think we've been 26 years. I don't know, 27. Yeah, probably right around there. And his aunt was the president of a search and rescue group, and I didn't know this. Crazy. Trav has shitty communication. What do you know? Never told me anything. So I was looking at getting this Belgian Malinois, and I was like, I'm gonna probably have somebody train it. And mistake number one, right? I didn't know anything.
Yep.
And I was like, then I'm gonna try to find a search and rescue unit to work with. And he's like, well, you should talk to my aunt. She's the president of one. I was like,
you fucker, you mean to
it's like,
tell
Trap,
me?
I have been talking to you about this for 6 months, and you have not said anything to me about this. Now you're telling me? And so I went and talked to her and kind of got her. She got me on the right track, and she's been doing this for a very long time.
Very smart lady.
Yeah,
I talked to her myself, and she's
oh, I love her.
Handful of
She's the
information.
best. She's pretty much like an aunt to me, too. And so she kind of steered me on the right path, and that's when I got my first one in 2000. When did I get that first one?
God, I feel like it's
Probably
been a while.
2021. What is going on here? I just gotta.
Well, is yours clicked up all the way? I don't know.
I don't even. Having some more technical difficulties here. It just cuts out. Say something.
Hello.
Okay, maybe it just keeps getting turned down.
How are you thinking?
Oh, now that's way better.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I got my first Mal in 2021, and that girl was my prodigy child. Drove all the way to Mississippi for her. Picked her up, brought her home. She was like 8 weeks at the time. Started training her immediately, and she turned out to be.
She was a great dog.
Oh, dude, she was that thing. I love that thing more than life itself at the time. Old Nina. That's when we went to Oregon together too. I went to advanced practitioner's course in the Cascade Mountains for austere medicine. Wish they would have told me that was for doctors. I was an EMT at the time.
Really?
Yeah, everybody was a doctor there except for me. They're like,
Holy
"Oh,
fuck.
what are you?" They're like, "Oh, family practice." They're like, "Oh,
Like,
emergency
bitch,
medicine."
are you even allowed in the gates?
Right? Yeah. They're like, "What are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm an EMT." They're
Oh
like,
my
"Oh," but it
Go make
turned
her some
out.
coffee, bitch.
Yeah, right. But austere medicine, I mean, they're really smart, but when you're out in the mountains, it's a little different story.
I believe it.
So I brought Nina with, and we did, I think it was like a little over a week there, and did a lot of, bunch of crazy stuff. And we got to go, we did rappelling. That's that video or that picture.
You had her hanging off you, didn't?
Yeah, I didn't have a legit rappelling harness for her at the time, so one of the instructors, we kind of makeshift. We made one, and it worked fine. If it was an emergency situation, it probably would have worked just fine.
So how high were you?
It wasn't that high. It was probably only like 40 feet, 40, 50
And this
feet.
was your first drop?
Yeah, I've rappelled in the past, but it was the first time that I've ever done it with a dog. And
Wow.
she hadn't, I did like little training exercises with her to like not make her afraid of heights, but she had never done it before. And she was a little nervous.
Fuck yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Because she's just sitting there dangling.
Yeah,
like
she's hanging off my back, and I have like these two straps on, and she's just kind of swinging in the wind. And it's not a real harness, so
Did she like freak out?
No, she just kind of just stayed there. She's pretty
That's
neutral.
sweet.
She had her little goggles on and everything, and she's just
She's
chilling.
ready to get after
Oh
it.
yeah, she's ready to rip.
Oh,
And then shortly after that, when we came back home, she had to get spayed, and she had to get a gastropexy, which is basically they tack the stomach to the side, and so it doesn't twist, prevents that. Doesn't prevent bloat, but it prevents torsion. So like when they get bloated, then it twists, and then they have to do surgery and try to unbind that. And sometimes that kills a lot of dogs. It's actually really scary.
Because you don't know what's happening until...
It's usually either too late or if you're actually looking for the signs. They're very, very subtle, but you have to really pay attention. So she got that. I was already nervous about that, so we got it done. And, she was pretty lethargic for the first couple days. I was like, whatever. She just had surgery, like major surgery.
No.
For her anyways, 2 of them at the same time. And then she kept, she had this incision on her abdomen, and she kept, kind of leaking out of it. It was kind of like pus. And I was like, oh, that's kind of...
Was this supposed to happen?
They
Like a discharge after
Yeah,
the
it was
surgery?
like a slight discharge, so I just kept changing her bandages, but she hadn't been eating or drinking, so she was just... I was like, well, it's been 3 days now.
God dang.
So I brought her into the vet. The vet said, yeah, she's fine. Everything looks fine. Gave her some fluids, sent us home. Same thing next day. Still the same. Wasn't eating. Barely was drinking water. Wasn't really moving a whole lot.
And she's how old at this point?
She had just turned a year. So this was 5 days after she just turned 1. And then so next day I was like, something's definitely not right. And so brought her back in. He's like, no, everything feels fine. I was like, all right, man. I'm not a vet, so I don't really know. But she just is acting really strange.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's starting to get more energy, but she's not 100%, which it takes, 7 to 10 days approximately for it to heal, which is, I was like, okay, maybe she's just kind of getting back in the swing of things. But then I had to go to drill that weekend. And so I dropped her off with one of the other handlers, and I still have the picture on my phone. and she sent me this picture, and she had a cone on her head, so she wasn't licking.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole bottom of her like underside was like dripping blood.
What the fuck?
And I was like,
Jeez.
take her to the ER right now. I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can. So I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm leaving. Like, I have like an emergency with one of my working dogs. Like, I need to go see. Took her to the ER in St. Cloud. And this was like still during like the COVID stuff. So you could drop your dog off, but you had to wait in the car.
What?
Yeah, so you had to wait to the car. And then once they did their assessment and whatever, then the doc would call you and you'd have the conversation on the phone.
So wait, is this the same place that you took her
No,
before?
this was the emergency room.
Okay.
So like the vet that I took her to get the procedure done was just like a standard vet. It wasn't an ER.
Wow. That's got to be scary getting that text message.
While
you're away.
Oh, dude, I drove so fast because like that dog, we'd done everything together.
That's your little buddy, yeah.
I spent a lot of, not even the money, but like we spent every minute.
It's an investment. It really is. You got your time, energy, a lot of the training.
Blood, sweat, and tears with that girl.
Yep.
And then the doc called me, and she's like, I was like, well, maybe it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe she just has an infection. And so the doc calls me, and I was like, how bad is it? And then she's like, well, it's not good. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, what is going on? And she's like, well, she's bleeding internally. I was like, what? She's like, I don't know if the procedure went bad or something, but she's bleeding internally, and they took like her hematocrit. They took some labs on her to see like what her hematocrit was, her white blood cell count, red blood cell count, all that, platelets and everything. Well, she was basically like almost zero. Everything was really, really low.
So she couldn't heal?
Well, they thought that she had a bleeding disorder, like a genetic bleeding. There's that ant.
Fucking
I thought she had like it's like von Willebrand's, I believe is what it's called. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's basically it's in humans too. It's basically like the body can't clot. So
is it like that plasma? It's like like kind of plasma attacks. Like, is that what it is?
No,
the way
I don't know. I don't know the exact like chemical like down to the cellular level. I don't know the exact dynamics of it, but it's basically in like simple terms is any sort of like blood loss could be fatal because your body can't clot. So like normally you get a cut and then your body clots it. Well, if you have that disease or that condition, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So it just keeps going and going and going. So that's what they thought. And they're like, well, we can do one of two things. You can take her down to the cities. It's going to probably be like $18,000 for one night. Because she's going to need a blood transfusion. She's going to need all this shit. Right?
So is pet insurance a thing at this point?
I did, but I had taken it off. Because I needed some extra money to save.
Yeah.
And
I mean, how often you really
right,
think?
She'd been perfectly healthy. I was like, this dog never, like, nothing.
Yep.
I was like, I'll get it again once I am able to. And then I was like, what are her chances? And they're like, not the greatest. I was like, well, and she's like, and if she survives the night, probably less than 5% she'll ever be a working dog again. I'm like, well, this is a Belgian Malinois, and it's a working dog, so if she can't work.
Fuck, that's a long life for her.
Yeah, they live around 15 years. And I'm like, she's going to be miserable. I'm not going to do that to her. Just keep her in the house all the time. We can't do anything crazy because of the fear that, the next thing that, if she gets injured, that might be the last time.
Just that constant fear of that would drive me insane.
Yeah, especially with working dogs. Yeah, man. So, like, I was just bawling. I was bawling in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, you really aren't giving me much of a choice, is what I'm hearing. And then, so I was like getting ready. They couldn't even do it there. I had to take her down to Eden Prairie. They're like, well, we don't have this, and that, so you're going to have to, like, take her somewhere else to put her down. So I had to drive 45 minutes to take her in there.
Brother, that's got to be the saddest car ride.
The radio is off, nothing. I was just looking in the rearview mirror at her because she's just laying down. And she's all like, she's trying to be excited or trying to act happy.
Damn it, dude.
But yeah, dude, she was. And then, like, you do your whole. I would, dude, if I even tell the rest of the story, I'd probably start bawling.
I'm getting a little teary eyed myself, man.
Dude, I love her.
She was such a great dog.
Dude, she was a perfect dog.
Oh, my God. It's like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, that's your buddy in
Right.
the back seat, and you're on the way to go take him.
Well, it's, it was my first search and rescue dog, and, she was doing so well. She was going to get certified here pretty soon. And then, like, out of the blue, this happens. I'm like, oh my God.
Literally, and it was the simple, like I wouldn't say it's simple procedure, but it's something that
It was a routine procedure, and for whatever reason, and what made me mad was when I kept bringing her back,
Right.
and they kept saying that she's okay. Like, if they would have actually did their job.
You think it could have been prevented?
I don't know if it could have got prevented, because even now, we don't know what she didn't have a bleeding disorder, because I had him pull blood so they could run all these tests. They don't know what it was. They really don't. I talked to 3 different vets, and the vet that I got my advanced practitioners, whatever, he did my course for K9 in Oregon. Like, I sent him all her paperwork, and he's like, I don't even know what could have happened. He's like, if she doesn't have bleeding, or he's like, I don't know. I talked to 3 different vets, and nobody can come up with a conclusion. So now on top of this, like, I just put my dog down, and now I don't even know what happened, like what actually killed her. I know she was bleeding internally.
Yeah.
But, like, what caused that? Was it something?
Wow.
Was it something I did? Like, did she jump up on the bed or jump off and it broke like a stitch loose or something? And
oh, jeez, that's weird. Because now, oh my God, technology's endless. Seems like they can find anything out with anyone.
And you can't tell me what's going on. So yeah, I put her down that night, and I was like, man. So now I'm back to being alone. Full circle again. And yeah, I didn't really leave the house. I was pretty miserable, and I didn't even know if I wanted to be a search and rescue handler anymore. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
I puts a pretty good dent starting out.
Yeah, especially, I invested, a year of my time, and it was literally the love of my life.
Yeah.
Like, I love this dog more than anything in the world.
Yep.
And so I was like, well, okay, I have to get back into this. I was like, if I don't start now, like, I'll never start again. So I went and got another Mal from the same place. Oh my God. You remember Loki?
Yeah, Psycho.
Yeah, that dog. He had rage syndrome, which is caused from, I believe it's overbreeding. And he was terrifying.
Truly, he was
for a puppy,
fucking maniac.
He was like 5, 6 months, but he was pretty big. But that dog he loved me, but he wanted to kill everybody else.
Them Mals are crazy, scary to look at. Like
Yes.
Nova, beautiful dog.
Amazing.
Yeah, very, very good dog. Looks scarier and shit, though.
Yeah, she's not that big either. She's only 55, 60 pounds.
Oh my God, dude, she's
small, but man, she's got a bite on her.
She got a bite for sure.
She is wild. Anybody that knows anything about Malinois.
Yeah, I had no idea, because you were the first person, first person that had a dog like that I kind of seen or played with.
Yeah, and I always tell people, don't get a Malinois.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Yeah. Oh,
unless you know what you're doing. And I didn't know at the time, obviously, but I've been around them, so I knew what they were like, and I knew the direction that I had to go with it. But people that just want to get them for, like, pets, I mean, I'm not saying that's not possible, because I do know people that have Mals for pets.
That's a lot.
Don't buy a working line Mal. Like, you can get a pretty mellow temperament Mal, or get a Dutch Shepherd / Mal. And they're pretty mellow, too, depending. Just don't get a working line Mal, because you're going to hate your life. And if you don't have a job for this thing, it's going to destroy your house. It's going to destroy your life, essentially. And then what happens? Then people get rid of them. They end up in shelters, and that shit pisses me off more than anything.
Especially around this time with Christmases and Thanksgiving and
whatever.
I just feel like there's a lot of gifts given
when
that
movie John Wick, when John Wick 3 came out and they had the Mals in there.
Oh, that's a good way to promote them, too.
Yeah, and they're like,
people buy them.
Like, oh, I love it. My dog's gonna be just like that. That dog probably costs $100,000, and it's probably has so many years of professional, training.
Yeah,
your backyard dog is not gonna be
John Wick's dog.
It's not gonna be an attack dog.
Oh, dude, them things are crazy, because it was Loki, right?
Loki was the other one, and he was a psycho. He bit that cop too. He bit a cop when we were at the park. I was trying to do some obedience with them, and kind of just. I didn't know it at the time that he had rage syndrome, but obviously after the fact. But
so you're trying to help it, trying to work it through the problem.
I did everything I possibly could, and it just he was going to be a liability, and I mean that's we have nephews and just people in general. Like, what am I not going to be able to take this dog out? He's going to be a muzzle on all the time.
Yep.
Like, I did everything.
It's not healthy. Not healthy for you nor the dog.
No, I exhausted all my resources to try to get this fixed. And I spent a good chunk of time trying to do it. And I had multiple people tell me that, like, it's not going to happen. Not with this condition. And so I ended up having to, I tried to, like, give him to, like, a PD department. Because he would have been a great, like, tracking apprehension dog. Because he was really good at tracking. But he just wasn't going to be a search and rescue dog for sure.
Yep.
And he wasn't going to be a family dog, that's for sure.
Yep.
And, like, all the other agencies that I got, in touch with, they either just got one or they just didn't have the budget to, like, facilitate a working dog, even if I were to give it to him for free, which was I was going to donate him to him, at least give him, a chance. And so I ended up having to put him down because there's no option for him. Once again, back to full circle again. I was like, man,
I'm a lonely Cole.
Yeah, I'm a lonely person. I was like, man, should I even be doing this?
So it's the dog number 2.
Dog number 2, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna be done. And I told the president of our group, I was like, I think I'm gonna be done with this. I was like, I don't know if I'm apparently I'm not cut out to be doing this because this has happened. This is 2 dogs now, and it hasn't even been a couple years. Like, obviously this isn't for me. I'm good at it, but, like, apparently whatever forces out there don't want me to do this. So what do? I don't really follow the rules anyway, so I got another one. And that's my current one. That's Nova. And she came from Logan Haas Kennels, which shout out to him for breeding some of the best males ever. Yeah, and, she's a little over 2 now, and she's certified, and I love that dog. She's a great dog. She is amazing.
She's a very good dog.
She's a crackhead, but I love her. I love her to death.
She has a good temperament.
Yeah, she's got an equal balance. I mean, she's crazy. Like, she can be pretty mellow. Well, not really. Maybe when we're going to bed, but that's about the only time. But I can bring her to 100 real quick. Does not take much.
I just like when she comes around, like my dogs.
Oh,
because my dogs, they get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And, like, I might socialize. Like, I don't really socialize them a whole lot.
Yeah, you're a hermit.
Yeah. So it's like when you bring him or bring her here and they try to pull some shit with Nova.
Oh, yeah, she corrects them. She's
God,
like, I'm
love it.
She's not, I'm not playing this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's sweet because they definitely need it. Because if I do go somewhere, they kind of know what to expect in a way. Like...
It just teaches them social cues.
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe they hadn't had that interaction before. Like,
right.
It definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
So...
That's what I like is just...
Yeah, it's
fun to see her work. And, like...
Well, yeah. I mean, you've been around her quite a bit where you've seen her in action plenty of times.
It's nice, too. She has a little buddy now.
Yeah, she does. Old Titan.
Titan, big goofball.
My 110-pound German Shepherd.
He is a big
laziest bitch.
He's just so mopey. Every time I see him, he's just like fucking.
You know who he reminds me? It reminds me of, like, Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, he is a good boy. I love him to death, but he's not smart at all. He's just so lazy.
And it's funny because Titan's probably twice as big as Nova.
Oh yeah, he's almost double her weight. Yeah.
And Nova drags that dog.
Oh yeah,
like
that's why his collar's all frayed because, like, they'll play.
I seen that last time we brought him here. His collar looks like it fucking got electrified.
He drags his body around the house. Like,
and Nova, dude, she has such. So if you guys don't know Amal, like, they're maybe not every dog, but your dog Nova. Oh my goodness, dude. I thought she blew my shoulder out of socket.
Oh yeah, she's very strong.
Fucking right.
Very strong.
You get that little special toy you got
tug,
for
her tug.
Dang, son, she can tear your world apart.
Well, and she has her treadmill at home too. So I have a dog treadmill also for the wintertime because everybody that lives in Minnesota knows.
Cold.
I'm not going for a 6-mile walk when it's 20 degrees out, -20 with a blizzard. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. So I have this treadmill with her. It's in our home gym. And she runs on it. Titan and her both run on it.
Does Titan do good with that?
Yeah, he's not bad. He doesn't run as far because he's a fat, lazy bitch.
Big boy. So, like, Titan's bigger. Like, does he fit on there good?
Like, he fits perfect. He fits just fine.
Maddie, she got one, like, for, like, humans, like, just a little one you can tuck under the bed. I tried getting Bandit down there.
Yeah, you kind of have to train him a little bit on. Some dogs you can just naturally. This one's specifically for dogs because, like,
I like it treadmill. With the rails.
And a dog treadmill, it's just built a little different because dogs, obviously, we don't run like dogs, and dogs don't run like us, obviously. So it just
padding
helps.
too, I noticed as well. This one here, it's just Amazon special, so
I mean, I got mine on Amazon too, but the brand is a really well known. It's a dog pacer. For anybody that's looking to get a dog treadmill, they're a little expensive, like $600.
It's worth it though.
$600, but yeah, it's got different programs on there. I have it on max incline right now.
Yeah,
which is like
normal walks in.
Yeah, like 15 degrees. Yeah, she just she'll run.
She fucking
for
loves it. Oh, give me more.
45 minutes straight at max speed.
hauls,
She just
dude.
gives it, and that's probably why she's so beefy.
Yeah. God, she's a bullet too. Especially when it gets like that little, like when it's just about to be dark. I remember we're at Trav's and we're playing ball, and this is when we have like 6 dogs out there.
Yeah, we
My
have a
2
whole
dogs,
pack.
your dog. Yeah, a bunch of
Yeah.
dogs out there, and we'll be throwing that chuck it. And oh my God, dude, Nova, she is.
Yeah, she's like
Frickin'
a
missile.
little Formula One car. Dude.
She
She gets
is.
low and
She just tucks her ears back and she's gone. She's getting that ball, and she's dead. Like whatever's in her way, man. She'll.
oh, she'll lay you out. She does
She
not
will,
care.
too.
She has no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we just certified in October again at Napwata for tracking. So she's been certified for 2 years in a row now. I certified her just before she was 1.
And we actually did a track here. What, a couple month ago?
Yeah, it was like a 3/4 mile track.
That was good.
It was a hot track. It didn't age much at all, but I mean it's good training.
It is.
But yeah, we've done a lot of good stuff, and always more to come with her. And I mean, I just got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. I got school, work. I'm on the SWAT team now.
That's a new one.
Yeah, that
Now
just
you know.
happened a couple months ago too. SWAT medic.
So what was the thought process? Like, how did you even get introduced to that?
Well, at work we have a couple other people at work that are on the SWAT team. I'm not gonna name agencies because I'm actually on there, just because. But so they're on the SWAT team also, and they're like, "Man, you need to be on the SWAT team." And I'm like, because the normal requirements are you have to be a medic for 2-3 years or something like that.
And you have that.
I don't have that.
Oh, you don't have
I have not been a paramedic for 2 to 3 years yet. I just came up on a year.
Oh, really?
I've only been a medic
Oh,
for.
dang,
Everybody
dude.
thinks that I've been a medic for so long.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if
feels
that's-
like it.
I don't know what that
Maybe
means.
because you were in school for fucking 12 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Like practically a doctor over here. But
Jeez, okay.
don't know anything yet.
So, okay, yeah, continue.
So they're
I
like,
think
yeah,
brought
you
it up.
should. You need to be on the SWAT team. I'm like, I mean, yeah, that'd be cool. Build my resume even more.
Yeah, for sure.
And my boss at the time was like, he's like, you can try, but he's like, I doubt they're gonna take you because you haven't been a medic for
The 2 years.
the 2 years. And I'm like, well, whatever. I mean, I'll try. I'll give it a whirl. So there was 3 of us there's 3 or 4 of us that applied, and you have to do like, it was a 26-page like background check.
Whoa.
26 pages, man. And I'm talking like your finances. It wants all your school, military.
So your whole life.
They check your credit. They check your social media accounts.
Yeah. Why? Just to see if you're not a shitbag?
Well, they want to make sure you're probably not like affiliated or posting anything that's gonna probably.
Sure. A little
The
red
finances,
flag.
the finances I get, because when you start operating at a higher level, I'm not saying I'm like some tier 1 operator or anything, but
Nope.
especially when you get to like, FBI's hostage rescue team, stuff like that, I'm pretty sure. And they'll look at your credit, because I get it. It makes sense. If you have really bad credit and your finances are really shit, you're kind of at risk for taking bribes, I think is what their thought process was. I don't know exactly, because they're like, oh, he's not stable at all. Like,
That's pretty smart.
If someone offered him $20,000 to, whatever, look the other way or whatever, he'd probably do it because he needs the money.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's entirely true. That's what I've heard from a couple of the guys in the past, and it makes sense.
Never thought about
No,
that.
I mean, and it checks out. It definitely would make a whole lot of sense.
For
So
sure.
that was like 26 pages that I do that. Did I do like sit down interviews with like the team leader, like the chief of police, and like 2 other people, and they just ask you a bunch of scenario based questions and stuff like that. And apparently they liked what I said.
So there's only one position open.
There was 2.
Okay, 2.
So out of the 3 or 4 of us, 2 of us got picked up, and I just happened to be
one of them.
one of them.
Really?
And then we went to training. I think my first training there a couple of months ago, and SWAT dudes operate a little different. There's a lot of testosterone on the team. So like, I walk in and
I
they're
see
like,
that.
They're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not that tall and I'm not that big. So they're like, some of these guys are like 6'3", 280,
there's
huge.
some big mofos out there.
Yeah, all that HGH, that TRT that they're on.
I know. Like at camp there, I see them. They'll come in and do some training.
Oh yeah,
They'll
straight
be in the-
juicing.
Yeah, they'll be in the
juicing.
they'll be in the weight rooms in the morning, hat backwards. Just got that little cocky vibe to them.
Right, yeah, and like that's whatever, that shit doesn't bother me, whatever. And they're like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm one of your new medics."
They're big though, man.
Yeah, and they're
big
like,
boys.
"Dude, are you gonna drag me out of here and like find you too? Are you even capable of doing that?" And we did like scenarios in this huge building, like this 3-story building, and they did like an officer down drill. Essentially, it's like one of the operators or one of the cops got shot. Training, not real. And so we had to go do this and like scenario based and everything, and like crushed it.
Do you haul them out of there or what?
Yeah, so we had to like come up with like how to get them out of there, and then like your security and like treat like what do you want to treat right there that's life threatening, and then the rest of it we can do when we get to the truck, or at least out of there, because there's there's active
Shit's
shooter
still going
right
on.
there. Like I don't want to be sitting there. I don't have a gun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you don't?
No, we don't carry guns.
The medics don't?
No, we don't carry.
What,
any
do they
guns.
give you a whistle?
Yeah, pretty much. They give me a stress card. Oh, I don't feel safe.
Yeah, there's a reverse card from Uno.
Right. Yeah.
Go
So
find
it's
someone
like,
else.
So your protection is the other guys, and your vest and your helmet. But if I get shot straight in the face, probably not gonna help me much.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
no.
thought you for sure got a gun. I would want a gun.
I wish I could carry a gun.
Huh?
They give me like a wooden gun.
Bang, you're
Like,
done. Oh, dang.
Yeah, so you got to basically, you come up with, it's pretty, intense, I guess. I wouldn't say intense, but, you got to like make really, really quick decisions.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what's going on.
So wait, how many people are on a team?
They're pretty big teams, man.
So if you go on, you and these, like your group of people.
There's 2 medics.
Okay, and you're one. On a.
So we have 4 medics total, but that's for the whole SWAT team.
Sure. So
The SWAT
2 on
team-
each.
Yeah, well,
time you
yeah,
get deployed.
they kind of break it up. They do two medics at each call out is what they do.
Okay.
But like 2 medics, there's probably 30 operators
Damn, that's quite a bit.
at least.
And
But
that's on
everybody's-
one, or is that the full?
That's probably that's probably more than that. But everybody's got different roles. We have drone operators. We have
sweet.
the
So literally a whole
handlers. Yeah. So like I carry stuff for the dogs too. But yeah, there's a big chunk of people on the team. So I've been doing that for a little bit now. I'm just doing it to build my resume, man. It's not as glorious as what everybody thinks it is. I mean, we do definitely get call outs.
Especially where you're located, I feel like there's a lot more action for sure.
Oh, dude, especially with the calls I've been having.
Weird, man. I hear him on the radio and
Yeah.
like,
There's been 2 shootings, and I mean, if you live in the cities, that's like every day. But
yeah,
like
that's a normal occasion for them.
the old St. Cloud area.
And it's close to home too. Like that's the freakiest thing.
Yeah, St. Cloud's definitely gotten worse over the years, or
Yeah.
maybe it's always been as bad as it has.
You hear it more.
But when you
often.
actually work in EMS, like you're like, oh wow,
You're
this
there.
is actually wild. Like this shit is insane.
Yep.
So yeah, there's been like 2 weekends in a row that there's been shootings. One was a fatal shooting. People just shooting each other over stupid shit, like arguments.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ah,
whenever we get in the truck, let's go.
I found it. Oh, dude, I gotta tell a story about your gun, or you can tell it.
Oh, the one that got stolen?
Yeah.
So
So walk us through that one, man. That is a weird one.
That sucked, dude. That was not a good time. So this was when I was in medic school still, and I had to do a rotation at the surgical center. Obviously, I was tired, wasn't thinking straight, and left my Glock, my custom Glock 34.
Beautiful weapon.
Yeah, it cost me $3,000, and I forgot it in my glove box, and I didn't even know it was in there, and then obviously until it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Went in and then went to leave. Did my day there, and I was like, weird. My car is unlocked. So I opened my door, and like I sit down, and there's a tablet sitting in my car. I don't have a tablet. I don't have an iPad or anything. I was like, what the? I was like, is this the right car?
Yeah,
Like,
I would think.
Like, how did I even get? Like, okay. So then I turn around and I look and I see my medic bag in the back where I carry all my medic supplies. I don't carry any drugs in there, but they dumped it.
So they're probably looking for
They're
drugs.
probably looking for drugs. Yeah, they
Ah.
seen the medic bag and they got into my car. There's cameras in that parking lot. Whoever, shout out to this guy, honestly. He actually earned this. He's still a piece of shit for doing it, but got into the car without being caught on cameras and without setting off the alarms.
That's some wild
Dumped
shit.
my bag, must have opened the glove box. Ooh, it's my lucky day, right?
Golden.
My golden ticket
handgun.
right here.
Oh.
Steals my Glock. I'm like, well, there's almost $3,000 gone in my prized possession. Gone. I mean, don't get me wrong. I probably shouldn't have had it in the car. I forgot it. Whatever.
Yeah,
shit happens.
Yep.
Didn't really think I was gonna go somewhere and just gonna get jacked.
Yeah.
Do the report on it or whatever. And I'm like, I'm probably never gonna see this ever again. Guns, like, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chances of that are very
chances of
slim.
like probably never gonna see it again. So like I think it was like 7 or 8 months goes by, and I get a call, unknown number, answer it, and they're like, hey, is this Cole?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah. And they're like, this is Officer whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had no idea. Like, I forgot about it at
Months
this
later.
point. I was like, never expecting. He's like, well, we recovered your pistol. I was like, oh, shit, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. He's like, I don't know when you're going to get it back, though. I'm like, oh, like, why? He's like, well, they served a warrant or whatever, and turns out this gun was used in a murder.
Oh my goodness, dude! I could not believe it when he told me.
I didn't believe it either. And he's like, I don't know if you're gonna get it back in 6 months or a couple years. He's like, but they have to hold on to it. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. People are like, I'm surprised you still want it back. I was like, yeah, it's $3,000. I don't care. You're like, give it back here. Like,
definitely need that teardrop engraved in it.
Yeah, that little upside down teardrop. I think that's what it was.
Yep.
And I think after about a year and a half, close to 2 years. No. Yeah, it's probably a year and a half.
When you got it back?
Yeah, and
Really?
they finally called me and they're like, hey, it's cleared. Like, everything's done. You can come pick it up. They had to do a background check on me, obviously, which, even though. So they did that, and I went and picked it up, and it looks brand new.
Wow.
Serial number wasn't scratched off. Nothing. Looked.
Hey, did you ever
There was
find
a different
out?
mag. No, I never found out. I never figured out where it happened, what.
That would be interesting.
I'll just know I got used in a murder.
You see it on news, like, my gun did that.
That.
Oh,
Yeah, dude.
that would be.
That is
weird.
I don't know why this shit always happens to me, man.
I don't know. I don't know how we unlocked your car with the tablet.
I don't even know what
Like,
the
that's
tablet
the
was
weirdest
for.
shit.
I don't know if he was videotape. We couldn't get into it though. They couldn't get into it because the cops took it. Obviously, see if they could find any evidence on there. See if whose this was or what. Chances are that was probably stolen too.
Probably.
He's
If he's on a mission.
Banging different cars here and. Well, got the golden goose over here. Steal this gun. So that sucked.
That was good shit.
Interesting, very interesting story. You don't really hear stories like that ever. That somebody got their gun stolen, got used in a murder, and then they get it back.
No.
Like,
No.
first for everything, I guess.
No, that was a good surprise when he told me. But, brother, thank you for coming on the ReVamp podcast.
Yeah, man, it was good having me. I'm sure
You'll be back on.
Yeah, we got
get you on.
We got plenty of other topics. We just barely hit the tip of the iceberg
Honestly,
here.
I was expecting to get through, but there's a lot of stories once you keep.
Yeah,
keep
you just
talking.
get sidetracked and everything. I think the next time we'll probably be able to get a little more in depth.
Yeah.
I'm sure people will be able to kind of figure out who I am, or maybe
we'll
not.
I'd love to have you back. But awesome, brother. Thank you for coming
All right,
on.
man. See you later. Take it easy. See you guys.
Motherfucker, I've been mortified, 45, feeling like a Mordecai. I ain't regular, feel like Jordan wearing 45. Traumatized, victimized, seen some of my niggas die. Knock you off a base with a bat when them niggas slide. Homicide, genocide.